You turn off the lights, and for 1 second before your eyes adjust, the room disappears. Every shape in it becomes a guess. That coat on the chair. Is it a coat, or is it something standing there? Your body already knows the answer before your brain finishes the question. Heart rate up, skin tight, eyes locked on nothing. You wait, you don't move, you listen instead. This isn't a glitch in your nervous system. For almost all of human history, the dark actually killed people. Not sometimes. Regularly. And your paranoia is the part of you that never got the memo that it stopped. Historian Roger E. Kirch spent years reading pre-industrial court records, diaries, and folklore from Europe. What he found was a night that modern people would not recognize. No streetlights, no locks that actually worked. No way to see who was 10 feet away. After dark, most of what could hurt you, a thief, a stranger, a fire, was invisible until it was already close. So towns built rituals around that fear and rang a bell to enforce them. The bell was called the couvre-feu, literally, cover the fire. Every flame in the house had to be smothered before the streets went dark, because an unwatched fire could burn a town down while everyone slept, blind, unable to see the smoke until it was already inside the walls. Bar the door, bank the coals, say a prayer against what might be listening outside. E. Kirch's records show entire communities that treated nightfall as one of the most dangerous stretches of daily life, not because they were superstitious, because for centuries, night genuinely was the most dangerous part of the day. Robbery, assault, fires that spread before anyone could see the smoke. The dark didn't create imaginary monsters first. It created real ones, and the imaginary ones came later riding on the same fear. So what did people actually do at night before electricity gave us the option to just make it go away? They huddled, close, in groups, near the fire, backs to the wall, because a body alone in the dark was a body no one would hear scream. Even sleep wasn't one long stretch. E. Kirch found records of 2 separate sleeps, with an hour of quiet waking in between. Historians believe some of that waking hour was spent listening, just listening, in the dark, for anything that didn't belong. But go back further than any of that. Further than torches, further than bells. Go back before humans were even human. In 1924, a fossil skull was pulled out of a quarry in South Africa. Scientists called it the Taung child, first described by anatomist Raymond Dart. For 70 years, no one knew exactly how it died. Then researchers Lee Berger and Ron Clark looked closer, publishing their case in 1995. Punctures in the eye sockets, talon marks. An eagle had killed it. Not a lion stalking through grass, a bird dropping out of empty air. Anthropologists Donna Hart and Robert Sussman later built an entire case around fossils, like this one in their book, Man the Hunted. Early humans as prey, not predators. Leopards dragging bodies into trees. Big cats leaving tooth marks on bones in caves in South Africa. Even today in the Thai forest in Ivory Coast, researcher Christoph Busch and his team have documented leopards hunting chimpanzees, our closest living relatives. Same forest canopy, same nervous glances upward at dusk. For most of our evolutionary history, something bigger than us was hunting us. And the one thing every single one of those predators shared, better night vision than we had. A leopard doesn't need a full moon. An eagle doesn't wait for daylight to circle. But a hominin, alone at dusk, with human eyes, almost blind. Every sunset for millions of years was the moment your ancestors lost their biggest advantage. Think about what dusk actually does to human vision. Color drains first, then edges soften, then distance becomes a guess. A shape 40 feet away could be a rock, a log, or a cat crouched low in the grass. You cannot tell which. And in that gap, in that half second of not knowing, the safest possible move is to assume the worst one. So here's the part that almost nobody explains properly. Your fear of the dark isn't really about the dark. Cognitive scientist Justin Barrett gave the mechanism a name, the hyperactive agency detection device. The idea is simple. almost embarrassingly simple. A brain that sees a predator that isn't there loses nothing. It just feels stupid for a second. A brain that misses a predator that is there loses everything. So evolution didn't build you to be accurate in the dark. It built you to be paranoid in the dark. Every rustle becomes a possible animal. Every shadow becomes a possible shape. Not because your ancestors were anxious, because the ones who weren't anxious enough didn't live long enough to have you. Run the math on that for a second. Imagine two early humans hearing the same sound in the bushes at night. One assumes it's the wind and goes back to sleep. 9 times out of 10, he's right. The other assumes it's a leopard and wakes everyone up. 9 times out of 10, she's wrong too. But on the 10th time, the one time it actually is a leopard, only one of those two bloodlines continues. Think about what that means for you tonight. The coat on the chair that startled you. That reaction traveled through hundreds of thousands of generations to reach you. It survived ice ages. It survived migrations. It survived every predator that ever tested it and lost. And it landed fully loaded in a bedroom that has a lock, a phone with a flashlight, and 0 leopards. The system doesn't know that, though. It can't check the news. It can't look up when the last recorded leopard attack in your city was. It just runs the same ancient program it's always run. Detect the shape. Assume the worst. Ask questions later. This is why you still check the closet, even as an adult. Why an empty house at 2 a.m. feels different from the same house at 2 p.m. Why the sound of your own house settling can make you freeze mid-step, holding a spoon like it's a weapon. You're not imagining a threat. You're running a threat detection system built for an era when the threat was usually real. It even explains why children fear the dark more than adults do, and grow out of it slowly, not suddenly. A child's brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, treating an unlit room as unverified territory, the same way a hominin treated the tree line at dusk. The nightlight isn't indulging a fear. It's answering a very old, very reasonable question. What's out there? None of this means you should be afraid of the dark. Electric light is one of the actual triumphs of modern life. It ended most of what Okerch's nighttime crime records describe. It pushed real predators out of most human environments almost entirely. Nobody is arguing for a return to torches and locked shutters and a bell telling you when to smother your own fire. But it's worth noticing what's still switched on underneath the light bulb. The part of you that flinches at a shadow isn't broken. It's just old. Older than fire. Older than cities. Older, maybe, than language itself. It's the same circuit that made a distant ancestor go still under a tree at dusk, ears straining, eyes useless. The same circuit that made a family in a stone house centuries later bar the door before the bell finished ringing. The same circuit that makes you, right now, glance once more at the coat on the chair before you finally close your eyes. So the next time you turn off the light and the room disappears for a second and your whole body goes still, that's not fear malfunctioning. That's an eagle, a leopard, and every dark road your ancestors ever survived, checking in on you, still waiting to see if the shape in the corner moves.